Hey filmmakers, today I'm going to tell you why I was crazy enough to quit two very good jobs working for Apple and Google to do video work instead. So this video is going to be a little bit different than a lot of my other ones where I talk about filmmaking gear and camera techniques and things like that. Instead, I want to tell you about how I went from working for two of the largest and most profitable tech companies in the world to doing video work. We need to rewind a bit first and go back to 2015. So in 2015, I was actually working for another technology company inside of Intel. So I've been in the tech world for a long time, and there I was doing networking, actual computer networking with servers and things like that. But at the time, I wanted to move on and do something different. So I found a job with Apple where I could help people fix their computers, iPhones, iPads, anything Apple related. And it actually wasn't at the Genius Bar, it was AppleCare. And it was really cool because you could actually work from home. So at one point, I actually had 3 iMacs and a MacBook Pro all set up in my office where I was taking calls and helping customers all day long. And it was a lot of fun. I learned a ton of stuff about the Apple products. I still get family and friends asking me for help with their Apple products all the time. I've kind of become the go-to tech support guy. I'll get random calls from people and they're like, hey, so my iPhone is doing this. Anyways, getting off on a side tangent here. So the year's 2015 and I'm working for Apple and it's a fantastic job. The job is paying me more than I've ever been paid before at any previous job. The thing is, working for a giant company like that, you're just a bit of a cog in a greater machine. So you don't have a lot of say and input. It was a place where I couldn't really be creative. Although Apple's whole thing is like, think different and they're all about creativity, there wasn't a lot of room for that in the company, at least not in the position that I was working in. So I found myself a lot of times at the end of the day just feeling really drained and really tired because I would work 10-hour shifts. I would actually work 4 10s. Anyways, there came a point where I was just totally physically and mentally drained and feeling like I couldn't really be creative. Now, all along this time, I was also doing a little bit of freelance video work on the side. Not much because I was very busy at my full-time job with Apple, but here and there I could pick up work, side jobs for companies, or even go out and film some weddings on the weekends. So I've told you all about my experience working for Apple, and you're probably wondering, well, what happened? Why'd you quit? How'd you quit? You know, that whole story. So basically what happened was I was going to school part-time while also working for Apple full-time. But there came a point where I needed to go to school full-time. And I was going to school for business. And so I was like, you know what? I really need to quit my job with Apple so I can finish my business degree. And I'm also going to do video work full-time instead because I know I can make money doing that. So I called my boss. And we actually FaceTime. Everyone at Apple FaceTimes. I mean, if you're gonna have a meeting with someone, it's almost always over FaceTime. So that's kind of just a funny little inside thing about Apple is they're constantly FaceTiming. Anyways, after that call, I told her, hey, you know, it's been awesome working here. I've loved it, but you know, I've got to put in my 2 weeks. So she was really cool with it. And you know, I served out the rest of my 2 weeks. And I started doing video work again. Now, of course, it took a while to build all my clientele back up and get a lot of new clients as well doing video work, but it did happen. It just took a couple months to really get the ball rolling. It was just so much more fulfilling and just a great way for me to be creative and get my work out into the world. My whole personality and everything just completely changed. Actually, I remember this time I was driving with my wife in the car and she was looking out the window and saying, oh my gosh, look at the sunset. It's so beautiful. Look at the clouds. It's just gorgeous. And I remember just kind of like looking out the window and being like, yeah, that's great. Who cares? Like I was so caught up in work and doing everything that I was doing for Apple that I couldn't even take a second to like enjoy the sunset and the clouds and like find it beautiful. I just didn't care at all. But as soon as I quit that job and I started doing video work again, all of a sudden my eyes were like opened again to the world and I started noticing the beautiful sunset and golden hour and thinking like, oh my gosh, I gotta get out there and launch the drone and capture this, and I gotta get my camera out and start taking some video clips. Like, this is beautiful, look, this is the perfect day for filming. I started seeing the world around me again and just feeling that creativity emerge and all that happiness and joy come back into my life. Like, I felt so much of that had just been sucked out by the corporate life. But how the heck did I end back up at a giant, massive corporate technology company again? So I left Apple, here's my old badge, and instead of doing that and working for Apple, boom, all of a sudden I was working at Google. How did I get here? How am I at another gigantic tech company again and not doing video work? How does this happen? Well, it's pretty simple. I finished my degree in business and technology at Arizona State. And once I was done there, I did the safe thing and I looked up jobs and started interviewing and found this job working for Google. And I was like, this is awesome. It's a fantastic company. Like, this is gonna be such a great place to work. And it was. There was amazing benefits and I got to go to all these different Google conferences, but it wasn't my dream job. Now, it did pay more than my previous job at Apple, and it paid more than I was making doing freelance video. So again, I thought, man, I'm really winning here. I've got a raise here. And you know, my degree and everything like that's really paying off. Now, what I did specifically at Google, as you can see, my shirt says is Google for Education. So we got Chromebooks into schools, K through 12, and in universities across the country. So anything to do with Google in the education space. But again, it just wasn't a creative outlet for me. And you're probably a creative person watching this, and you feel that inside when you just want to be creative and do something and create something and put it out there into the world. And when you can't do that and you're stuck at a job, or maybe it's a dead-end job, or maybe it's a great job that you went to school for, but you still can't be creative, it's like this roadblock that you hit and you just like, you don't know what to do and how you can get out of it. And that's where I was. And that was not even a year ago. So I worked for Google for a year and it was a great experience. I traveled a lot, but it still just wasn't allowing me to be as creative as I wanted. So I was doing a little bit of freelance video on the side again, on weekends and nights, and I was even producing some of these YouTube videos, and that was kind of my creative outlet, but it just wasn't enough. I felt like I was kind of just at a dead end and just stopped from letting my creative juices flow, for lack of better words. So what happened? How did I quit another job with one of the largest tech companies in the world? How did I get out of Google? So crazily enough, a friend of mine owns a video production company in Phoenix, and he just kind of called me out of the blue and said, hey, I need a DP. I need a full-time director of photography at our studio to start shooting videos, and we need you like now. Obviously, I chose to do it. It ended up being the right answer for me. So now every day I wake up and know that, hey, I get to go play with cameras and lights and microphones today and edit and be in the studio and go out and shoot videos for clients. And that's just an amazing feeling to know that you can do what you love and get paid to do it every single day. That's the dream, right? If you are a creative person and you have something that you love to do and you know that you can make money doing it, but you've been scared to really jump into it, I urge you to do it. Just start today. Whatever steps you need to do to start working towards doing that full time, I promise you it will be worth it. I wish that years ago I had started doing video full time, because I would probably be way better at video than I am now if I had gone into it full time 5 or 6 years ago instead of waiting all this time. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and quit your job right now, because that would be stupid. Definitely start doing work on the side and building up your clientele and everything like that so that you can make a smooth transition. So sometimes I ask myself, did I make the right choice? Was it a good idea to leave Intel and Apple and Google and all these huge tech companies and do video? And honestly, I think the answer is yes, because I've never been happier than I am now doing what I love day in and day out. So sorry Apple, sorry Google, it was great working for you guys, but video is my true passion and what I really love doing. Now, I wish I still had connections at Google, because I could really use their help when it comes to the algorithm. It feels like a lot of people aren't seeing my videos, so make sure you hit the bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. Hit like if you've enjoyed this video, and definitely subscribe if this is your first time here, because I make videos every single week about lighting, shooting, editing, everything like that. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.